Welcome back again. This is Fox, the next instalment in our Anno 1800 playthrough. Today we're going to be going over in great detail one of my skyscraper only islands. I've really fine-tuned these down to a T now. I'm going to go over everything, talk about everything that they need, all of the items I've got in the town halls. Production chains that I've got going on the island is very, very minimal. I've just got the bicycles and quartz and glass production on a few of them. But yeah, we're going to go into great details about how I do this. I did do a video earlier along in the playthrough on how I plan these. It has evolved over time and I've really streamlined these to get the most out of the island. As you can see, this island has got 529,632 investors on it. All of the skyscrapers are fully fulfilled. They've got everything. All of the level 5 skyscrapers are full panorama. Excuse me. You can see the pattern I've got going on. You have rows of level 5, rows of level 4, rows of level 5, and then you can dot level 4s in every third one. You then need to do a row of 5s, a blank row of 4s, then a full row of 5s, and then dot the 5s in every other one. This means that every level 5 skyscraper will have full panorama. Every level 4 will have no panorama, but it doesn't really matter. The main thing we wanted to do is get as many level 5 skyscrapers to full panorama as possible. So as you can see, I've tried to keep this grid working throughout the map. It really, really helps if you keep this grid in line as much as possible. The reason for that, if you didn't stick to this grid, we're going to zoom in. Say this house was half between the two, it would probably affect an extra house this way and this way. You can see at the minute, when you have it in the normal grid section, it only takes 3 rows into account. But if for some reason I was out of grid, shut up, will you? If for some reason I was out of grid and this one was in between 3 rows, it would probably affect a 3rd row up here and then a 4th row down here, depending on where it's placed. So to get the most out of this panorama effect, or this layout that I've got, which is, as I said, rows of 5s, rows of 4s, rows of 5s, dotted every 4th, rows of 5s, rows of 4s, rows of 5s, dotted every 4th. You really need to stick to the grid as possible. Now I have done the maths on this. I've got some quite organic islands, which will be going on later on. These ones still stick to the grid, but they're not as rigid because I have got a lot of cherry wood clipped in amongst them. So it sort of meant I had to fit the houses around. Now, when this is the case, every now and again you get a level 5 that's not full panorama because of the thing that I said before, where it's sort of straddling 2 or 3 lanes. You can see this one is affecting. This one goes this way up a lot more. It's being affected by, it's covering more than 3 rows if they straddle. You can see what I mean. This is exactly what I was on about. Normally when you stick to the grid, you can see it's only affected, the panorama effect is only being affected by 1 row either way, so 3 houses wide. Now if we look at this one, where was it? I just found one a minute ago that was straddling. Yeah, look, see this one? This is straddling 2 there. This is being affected by a lot more. It's going to affect more this way. Let's find a better example. One where it's truly straddling. I should have probably found one first before I started the video. But yeah, suffice to say, I've done the maths. The adverse panorama effect that it has by not sticking to this grid as strict as possible really, really does accumulate for just having the odd few squares at the end. You can see at the end here, I've got enough to fit another house in here, the amount of squares that are here, but for the sake of keeping everything on grid, not shimmying everything around, not crossing over those lines and affecting the panorama effect, it does work out better, believe it or not. You can afford to have a few of these little, when you mean maxing at least, you can afford to have this dead space around the edge, these few squares where we're missing a few houses, because the extra panorama effect we're gaining from having it in this grid is quite big. I'll show you. A level 5 with full panorama gives 350. Now, A level 5 with only strong panorama is 325. But if this was all mix match and hickory-pickory, that one that I just upgraded, this one, is not only affecting this one, it's affecting this one, this one, this one, and this one. So you can see you start getting in a bit of a pickle. You start getting in a bit of a pickle when you go off grid and you start upgrading buildings that just generally don't need to be. You can see, bring that down. That's put all of these three back up to full panorama. So they're all going to be now at 350. This one is just outside the reach of a town hall, believe it or not. But yeah, that's the main reason why I've chose to keep everything in this really strict grid format as well as possible. You can see everything's the same, super strict grid. Obviously, bit of give or take here or there where it's needed in and around town halls and stuff like that. But it really does help gain the best panorama effect you possibly can and get the most people in the skyscrapers. So 350 is what we're aiming for. The way we were able to get 350 in a skyscraper is because of, one, the intense panorama effect. This gives 25 extra bonus residents by having a level 5 panorama. Increases the income as well if you're on full panorama. The income really isn't an issue if you stick to this grid option. The only thing I'm giving them happiness wise is a bank and a members club, which are all being supplied by this bloke, Pietro Giona Proud, the philosopher of the public good. He gives us 1 bonus residence, but the main reason why I use this guy is because if you have electricity supplied to the skyscraper, residents with the electricity need fulfilled are provided with bank and members club. That means I haven't got to have 3 or 4 giant banks and 5 or 6 member clubs spread across the island just for the sake of having this chap in there. Plus you're getting bonus residents as well, so it really is a no-brainer. He is a great specialist. One which I'm sure all of them in Max is going to be using, just for the sake of the fact, as I say, that you're going to have full electric coverage anyway. Why bother having banks and members clubs to give you happiness? Although you don't really need to give them happiness, but it is increasing the income by quite a lot. So yeah, we talked about panorama, talked about the bank and the members club. I suppose we might as well talk about the other town hall specialists. This is the next one. Again, this is an absolute no-brainer for me. Blue Skies delivery service, equipped in town hall, all skyscrapers. A maintenance cost of plus 10%. Happiness plus 5, which is a bonus as well, because we're not really giving them any luxuries. I'm personally only giving them, as I said, the bank and members club and gramophones. Residents with the department store, furniture store or drug store need fulfilled are provided with chewing gum, billiard tables and violins. I've touched on this in 2 or 3 episodes. The ability to give those 3 high-end goods is amazing. That means the billiard tables, violins and chewing gum I can cram in very little space. The billiard tables are being made here, these light green ones. These are violins. This is all the violins I'm going to need for the whole save, just these here. The chewing gum I've managed to squeeze on half of an island over in the New World, so this is all the chewing gum I need for the whole save. So this half of one island is making the chewing gum. And this is just covering the people that are outside the town radius of the town halls. So these people here that are in the gaps of the town halls, these are the only people that need chewing gum, billiard table and violins. They're the only people that I'm going to need to supply them. Because as you can see, the ones inside the radius, get this chap. They're getting them for free. So again, he was an absolute no-brainer for me. You got to have him. Just the sheer amount of space and workforce you're going to save on not having produced those items is immense. The last one, I was a bit dubious about using this because of the increase in maintenance cost. You can see the maintenance cost increases by 15% per skyscraper. Now that's quite a lot. We click on this one skyscraper, we're going to use it for an example. The maintenance cost at the minute is minus 5,428. This one here, minus, which one was it? This one. Let's do this level 5 there. Minus 5,428. Now if I take her out, it goes down to minus 4,720. Put it back in. Minus 5,428. So it's a big increase in maintenance cost. But because you're increasing the number of people in the skyscraper, increasing the bonus residents by 5, they get a bonus from biscuits, typewriter, cognac, violins, billiard tables and toys, department store, furniture store and drugstore. Because you're increasing the number of people in there and we're supplying them with all goods, this actually increases the income. You can see my overall income for this island now. What are we on? We're at plus 1,088,401 for the island. 1,088,000. If I remove it just from this one, and then look again, we're at 1,072,000. So it's like 16,000 in the plus from each town hall just by having this in. Because the extra residents you're getting in there, because we're giving them all of the items, we're giving them the bank, giving them the members clubs, we're letting them have the gramophones that are being made as byproduct from the penny farthings. Yeah, you're actually getting free money just by having her in there. Just because I know we've got to supply the more people with the goods that give them the money, but this is a max pop game. We want to fit as many people in as we can. So yeah, 350 people. This one's outside the town hall. 350 people in one skyscraper. Pretty damn good. So what else do they need? I say we're trading for all the basic stuff. Biscuits are being made on Crown Falls. The biscuits. We're just quickly going to fly over everything. Just going to quickly show you everything. The biscuits are being made here. They need tallow and flour. Now the flour is being made in the windmills, the grain is being traded for, the tallow is being traded for. They then need citrus, which is being made absolutely everywhere. We are making it as byproducts. Still a little bit short, I'm 100 short. We're making it from cherry wood, from resin. We are actually making it from grapes. Not grapes, we're making it from, actually in the New World as well, and from cinnamon and citrus orchards over there. We're just making citrus everywhere as byproducts, and also we're actually making it in orchards itself. So that's the biscuits. Typewriters are over here as well. These need steel, brass and lacquer. Steel and the brass is being traded for on multiple islands around everywhere. The lacquer's being made here. As you can see, it's being clipped. They're all being clipped. So they're getting double Department of Labour effect, double redundancy, and double the Skilled Labour Act. So they get a huge boost, 420% flat out, maybe even more. I think it is 420%. Yeah, typewriters. This island we've done a little while ago, Miati Fati. As I say, the billiard tables, violins, toys are being made over here. Everything they need, they are getting. So once that's out of the way, you just need to plan the island as best you can. Now, what I'll try and do is, obviously, we've got full electric coverage in the video. Again, which I keep talking about, how I plan these islands, you'll see how I work out the coverage of the electricity. We do also have full fire station coverage. All near us, damn it, there's a little bit down here out of reach. We also have full hospital coverage. Again, I really should squeeze one in down here. This is what I would try and do. I would try and fit one in between. Fit one in between the town halls. You can see that gap is now being filled by a hospital. They will need it. They are going, because they're so crammed so close together. You are going to get illnesses and stuff like that. We should have pretty close to full fire station coverage, police station coverage as well. Pretty damn good. Again, trying to fit these fire stations in and around where there's these police stations, look, in and around where there's blank spaces. Anywhere there's a gap in between a town hall, if I can put something there, I will. You can see we're making good use of the blank space down here from the town halls for the bicycle production. Same here, bicycle production. Managed to squeeze one of the shopping arcades in here. We've put the skyline tower here. This doesn't actually need to be in the range of a town hall really, because you're still going to get the maximum residents, 2,800, because they're only getting the one of each department store, drugstore and furniture store. Again, where I can, you see this blank space here, we've got more bicycle production. So the penny farthings for an island like this, producing 528,000. I've worked it out that I need 144 penny farthings a minute. To get that, I need 24 penny farthing, 24, 25 penny farthing manufacturers. I aim for. I would imagine I've got 24 on this island. Yeah, 24. They're using the Bruno. He gives advanced weapons and steam motors for free, plus a 50% boost. Ferras, which is a massive 50% boost, -10 workforce. And then Dario, the mechanical engineer. He changes the input from steel to iron, which means that you can just have iron mines on the island, producing all the iron that you need. If not, you can trade for the rest. He produces pocket watches and gramophones at a rate of 1/8. So from these 24 bicycle factories, we're making 144 tons of penny farthings a minute, 48 advanced weapons, 48 motors, 18 watches, and 18 gramophones a minute. So they need oil, iron, as I say. All of the mines on the island are being used for iron. They are all being boosted by the same, well, pretty much boosted the same. They're getting a Jorg von Mauching. He produces gold ore at a rate of 1/6 and oil at a rate of 1/1. That's the main reason I use him, for the oil. You can see we're generating 127 tons of oil on this island. Most of it coming from the mines. Some of it is coming from the power plants itself with specialists that we can go on at a later date. We are slightly short on the iron that we need. We're roughly 50 tons a minute down. Even though we're making a shed ton, we're making 100 tons a minute. But that iron is being traded for by pocket watches, which are coming from a byproduct from the penny farthings. So penny farthings are really easy to make. They're the easiest thing to make in the game, really, because, I mean, well, not the easiest thing to make in the game, but they only use two products. One of them you can trade for readily and very easily, because Dario changes the input from steel to iron. The other one you can trade for very easily, and it's really, really cheap to trade for, which is rubber. You can see I'm using watches, and it trades at a rate of 1/10. So you need very, very little. The watches, the pocket watches that we're getting for free are literally covering the iron and the rubber. And they're the lowest trading value good that I've got out of that stack, so it's an absolute piece of cake. So the reason why I decided to make the penny farthings on the island instead of on their own industrial islands and then ship it around is because it's very, very easy to fit them in the gaps of your town halls. It's really, really hard to get full town hall coverage on an island and not have any spare gaps where you can't fit them in. Look, this is another one that I've just done. You can see gap down here, managed to squeeze some in. This section here needed filling in, so I've squeezed them in there. What? I don't see why you would want to make them on an industrial island and then transport them over, because to me the town hall space in between is dead. The only reason, I mean, if you am in maxing to the finite smallest amount of detail, then clip penny farthings is the best way to go, but that just messes the grid up too much for me. Another way would be to have it on its own industrial island with 4 trade union slots and boost it a little bit more. But for me, having them on islands so you don't have to transport them around, you can fine tune the production of them so you've got exactly the right amount being produced on the island to provide the amount of goods that you need to supply them on that island. So for me, it is a very, 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 very good idea to do that. Let's talk about the shopping arcades quick. So the mines, as I said, they're really straightforward. They're producing me the oil. So the shopping arcades, the 3 that I've gone for are drugstore, lipstick. Now, the reason I've gone for this is because it's the best one for me, because it reduces cabs by 25%, a quarter. And that's the hardest good to trade for, which I am trading for. So a quarter of the cabs that you need are now gone just by using this lipstick. Granted, it's a bit of a pain. It needs fish oil, coconut oil and lacquer, but we can change the coconut oil out to tallow by this woman, Belinda San Pedro, head of arcade acquisitions. She goes in a town hall trade union and affects all shopping arcades. She increases the workforce a little and the chance of fire, but instead of cherry wood, wood veneers, coconut oil, steel and brass, the building will process wood, tallow and iron. So we've swapped the coconut oil for tallow. Trades, you can trade for that very, very easily. You don't have to use more orchards to get it. No brainer for me. Reduce the number of cabs by 25% and a little bit of bulbs. Department store. Now, this is Banker's Lamp on this island. This is what I've got on every island, actually. I'm thinking of some of the other islands for the department store. I've got different ones. So, Banker's Lamp. All this needs is glass, bulbs, and brass. Now, the brass is swapped out to iron because of that woman that we said. So, you need bulbs, iron, and glass. We're already making iron. If not, we're going to trade for the surplus anyway. We're already importing bulbs that the investors need. So, the only extra good you need is glass. Now, on most of the islands, I am actually making the glass on island because it just needs one sand mine and then 2 glass mines. Oh no. It needs 1 glass mine and 2 sand mines to make all of the glass that you need for these seven or so shopping arcade clusters. The items I use are Stephen McLeod, fine handheld auger and ferrous. Now this is giving me plus 50, gives me pearl and gold ore. I'm not doing anything with these at the minute, but I may well ship them off all to one island and use them to trade later on because I'm making a fair bit. Making a fair few pearls, I believe. Globally. I'm making 100 tons of pearls globally. And they can be traded, so they will be all grouped together and traded for later on down the line. Glass, obviously, is making use of the ferrous. The handheld auger and Stephen McLeod are affecting the sand mine. So yes, real straightforward. The last one is the department store. Now on some of the islands I am making the toaster. I really do want to swap all of them to the toaster, but I'm fearful I may not have enough. I may not be producing enough goods on the islands to trade because the vacuum cleaner is what I'm going for at the minute. It reduces the amount of cabs again by 15% and glass is 25%, so a really, really huge boost again for 2 quite high trade value items. The only downside with this is the celluloid. I'm going to need to be making about 200 tons a minute, about 160 tons of celluloid a minute just to supply all the islands with the celluloid they need for the shopping arcades. Don't get me wrong, I am doing it at the minute. I've got a giant island over here. Celluloid boss. This is making me 320 tons a minute. All islands globally. I'm making 532. 100 tons more than what I need at the minute. Now, if my calculations are correct, I'm going to be able to get rid of one of these celluloid islands. One of these is only making me 86 tons a minute. This one's making me 126. Celluloid 1 was making me, I think it was 87 tons a minute. If my calculations are correct, I should be able to do away with this island, which means I can make more bananas to make grapes for the cognac. I'm rushing through this a bit, but I wanted to try and cover as much as possible for people who are coming here just specifically for this video, how to do these skyscraper only islands. I'm probably going over stuff that you've already heard in some of my earlier videos, but suffice to say, if you have come here just for this, then I wanted to go over it in as great detail as possible. Right. I've lost my head. Museum. 2 museum exhibitions in here. Museum exhibitions I've got is Jurassic. Now, this increases the happiness and income per house by 10% of each. It does take up a fair bit of a footprint because it's a 6 item slot, but the extra income you get and the extra happiness you get from this is massive. I mean, if we can have a look at the income again. So the income for this island is 187,000. Now, if I remove one of these artifacts, It was 1,087,000, wasn't it? We've gone down to 435,000 in the blue, in the red, in the green. So it drops by half. So just having this one zoo set drastically increases the amount of income on an island. This could be really useful for people that are struggling with income due to the vast amount of resources and income that this does draw. I mean, look at this one island. Skyscraper upkeep is 65 million. 65 million just to run the skyscrapers. The royal taxes is 48 million. It's absolutely crazy. So anything you can do to increase the income of these skyscrapers is definitely should do. You should definitely use all three of these. Use one of each. Again, the money that you lose from not having these shopping arcades up and running, if you mess the supply chains up with these, it can become a massive pain. You need a real good, solid, constant supply of the items that these shopping arcades need to run. Because again, look what happens if I just pause the furniture stores on this island. So I've paused all the furniture stores on this island. The income's going to shoot down. This is going to go into the red. It's going to go from 1,080,000 to nothing. I'm not going to let it go, but suffice to say, you need those. You need the shopping arcades running. You need to make sure they're getting exactly what they need. So before you do anything, having these skyscraper islands, make sure your supply chains are up, running and solid. And if I would recommend overproducing, even if it's by 10 tons a minute, what you need, just overproduce it and make sure that supply chain is constant for these, because boy, if you mess something up for some reason, if something messed up, like fish oil for instance, if the fish oil I am making for these in the new world suddenly packed up, it would cause so much trouble you would not believe. I would lose every single penny of that 999 million or that billion coins in 10 minutes flat. It would just vaporize. So this island is dedicated making the fish oil for that. It's making me 157 tons a minute. Globally, we need a lot. I'm making way more than what we need. I'm making 250 tons a minute more than what we need globally. I mean, a lot of it's being used for sugar, but make sure that your supply chains are in place for these shopping arcades. Make sure that as many of these skyscrapers are in range of them as possible. There's only a few on this island which are out of reach of these. If we go to skyscraper maintenance, you can see I've got 9 level 1 skyscrapers which are out of the reach of one of them for some reason. 3 level 2s and 18 level 3s. You can see for some reason this is out of reach of the furniture store. It's the ones on the right outer extremities. They're inside the... They need to be inside the circle and also have a green street to them for them to be getting the bonuses. So, yeah, that's a cool tip. Why are you only on 300? Oh, you're outside the town hall. Yeah, so we're nearly there. The other museum set I've got for this one is Lost Tribes. Now this one, it's a tiny reduction. It's 5% reduction in sewing machines, canned food and coffee. Now you might think, oh, it's no point having that, but when your island needs 300 tons of coffee a minute, a 5% reduction comes in very handy. Again, if we just remove one of these, 303 tons a minute, goes up to 319, so a 15 ton, almost a 15 ton jump per minute. Now when you've got every single island covered with skyscrapers, that 15 tons over every single island soon adds up to an awful lot of coffee extra that you don't need to be trading for. That pretty much covers it. Some of the islands some of them are medium islands. I might go over these in another video, but these are virtually identical. The only difference being I've got clipped cherry wood orchards throughout, making me, this little island here is making me 112 tons of cherry wood. and 37 tons of citrus. The reason I chose it to do this on the... Oh, we didn't talk about the palace. Sorry. Quickly, we'll go to the palace. Very, very important. Should have said this at the start. Palace. Department of Administration. Plus 300 island workforce per town hall. All of the workforce across my entire save is being generated for free by town halls. Except 2 tiny little islands over here.
It's shallow.
Crammed with artisans being boosted to the wazoo. So this island is producing... This island makes me 9,000. I've got another little one up here.
Sweet music.
This island is 8,000. So I'm making 20,000 artisans on these tiny little islands. Every other single person, farmer, worker, artisan and engineer workforce across the whole save for the old world and new world that I need to make everything is being generated by these town halls. So, Department of Administration. Make sure you've got full town hall coverage on every single island, or every island that you're going to have this on. And then the good bonus with this is that you've got some really cool ones that you can use if need be. The one I chose is 30% reduction on all foods. Now, this affects biscuits and chocolate.
Is out of control.
Again, I need 128 tons of chocolate on this island and 64 tons of biscuits. Now, if I take that 30% out there, this is going to jump to almost 100, and this is going to go up to 150 something. I wouldn't have enough. I wouldn't be making enough penny farthings, excuse me, with those 24 bicycle factories to cover all that, and I would have to increase my biscuit production drastically. And the main mean with biscuits is citrus. It's such a bloody pain. Citrus is the biggest pain, just for the sheer space that it takes. And yeah, reduce the 30% reduction in foods for me was a no-brainer. The only difference to this scenario is on my medium islands like this, where I'm clipping the cherry wood, instead of going for that option where I'm generating workforce from the town halls, I decided to go for Department of Labour. This gives a plus 60% productivity for production buildings within range of a trade union. So as long as your trade union is connected to a road and connected to a road that links to the palace, you get a bonus 60% production. The main reason is I needed an extra trade union slot. The reason I need that is because to clip these like this and have them crammed into your town, you can see some of these have only got like 4 or 5 squares. They can, believe it or not, if you clip these with these 3 items, hand pollinated method. This one's given citrus. These had a little bit more space, so I wasn't too bothered. These 3, if you get the Get Rich Volume 1, Presidential Profit, hand pollination method, and the optimized pruning, these all decrease the density. If you clip them with those 3, so 2 lots of them, they can actually work off just 1 tile of forest. You only need 1 tile of forest to reach 100% efficiency. Now I can prove that, because at the minute, if I fill all this in, replanting, but yeah, suffice to say I've just coloured all that in now, so this has only got access to 1 tile. You can see the radius, it's only got access to 1 tile, but it will still be at 100% efficiency. So yeah, the main reason I decided not to have that, not to have the Department of Administration, Department of Labour, is mainly just so I can cram these orchards in amongst the houses without having to use massive amounts of space. Also, they're getting a good extra boost. And to be honest, when my calculations are done, as I say, those 2 little islands are making up for the artisans that I was losing being generated by these town halls on these medium islands. But yeah, I think that is enough waffling for now. If you've got any questions, please ask in the link in the please ask below. That is how you min max That's how you min-max. That's how you do it. Pretty much perfection these are. This is one I've just finished. You can see full town average you can, to full town or coverage you can, as I said, where I can fit things in between them. Hospitals, shopping arcades, bicycle factories, shopping arcades, clay pits. Even fit the museums in here. That's how you min-max islands for skyscrapers. Give them everything they need. Give them the bank and the members club for free. Yeah, let's have it. 9 million, here we come. I'm not going to have enough room, but I'm produced enough stuff for 9 million. We're at 3,500. I reckon we'll get to 7 million investors with the space I've got. And I'm still going to have to put some over here, which I didn't want to do. But yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Learned something, and stay tuned as always for the next one. Please like, subscribe, share. Yeah, thanks for watching.